What screams I peaked in high school? Wearing your Letterman's jacket after high school. Claiming you could throw a pigskin a quarter mile. Bullying your co-workers. The mid-20s girl who still has drama with the same people as she did in high school. Usually part of the same group of people that also peaked. And when you see them out together, it almost seems as if time froze for their minds, not their bodies though. Bragging about your hookups in HS when you're 37. Those dads that shout at referees at children's sport games. Burning all their bridges and going off on their big college adventure a 5-hour drive away and then dropping out and returning home after the first semester because nobody liked them. 4 touchdowns in one game. Peg. When I was 21, working nights at a pizza and beer bar, trying to get out of junior college and get out of town, I had a high school acquaintance say to me, "Well, I guess we're past our peaks now." I said if I believed that was true I'd kill myself. Well, in fairness, I've never been thinner or faster than an HS. But man have I been happier than those days. Years ago my high school won the state championship in football, in Texas no less. There were 2 types of players generally speaking, the ones who wore their championship rings on a regular basis, even years after graduating. The others went to college. Becoming a teacher just to go back and be that awkward high school teacher that seems to be trying to be just a bit too friendly with students. The facet of believing that people are uncool or weirdos to be ridiculed because they are interested in things that they and their friends aren't. Basically holding on to the idea that social hierarchy should be just like it was when they were 14. From the 2 episodes I saw, every adult in Glee. Winning a war against the Dark Lord in a way that involves a lot of Jesus symbolism. During your senior year. Like it. I hope that's your peak, Harry. I don't think the world could take it if you amped it up any further from there. Continuing to talk about the football team and not branching out and finding new friends after high school. They think there is a popularity hierarchy everywhere. And now we should just imagine a small town kid who really isn't very smart or extraordinary in any way, except he's got a lot of heart. He knew he didn't need to finish high school because he is not going to college anyway, but he did it. He worked really hard to be the first member of his family to graduate high school, and it's going to be a goal he hopes that his own kids will surpass one day. He has his high school diploma hanging on his wall at home because he worked really hard for it. And it truly is an accomplishment that he's proud of. Like what a ducking asshole. When you're in your 40s and all you post on Facebook are memes about how you've given up on the haters and the toxic people and learned to be at peace with yourself and blah blah blah. Still squeezing into your Hollister t-shirts. I'm looking at you, Brad. Listing your occupation as proud soccer mom and entrepreneur and hawking MLM products on Facebook. Any person who starts off a discussion topic with "Hey, remember when? Yo, I remember when the cops showed up to that one after prom party and we all ran. Yes, I remember how hot that one girl was and then she got fat. I also remember having this conversation several hundred times with you and I've lost the strength to continue with this farce." Then I just lean really smugly on my Segway and roll away from that snooze fest. Parents who get way too into their kids' sports. Example. A person that takes a deep breath and yells, "I peaked in high school." Being a grandparent at 30. This thread is always so ducking stupid. Just some examples. You live in the same place. God forbid you like the area I grew up in. I certainly didn't peak in high school, unless being a scrub is peaking, but I definitely wanna settle down in the area I went to high school when the time comes. You have the same friends. Ha, look at that loser with lifelong bonds forged through decades of friendship. That's how you sound. I love my high school friends. Why should I just move on from them? I have other friends. Doesn't mean I need to ditch the others. You got married right after high school. So what? If someone is happy, who are you to judge? I may think it's dumb to get married that young, but it doesn't mean that person peaked in high school. When Aunt Pam always brags about how she can still fit in her high school cheerleading uniform and insists that she put it on to prove it. when it's been 15 years and that is all they talk about. Parents living through their kids to recapture their youth. Bullying, stalking and harassing people online. I'm also pretty sure that every dude who has ever attended Texas A&M peaked in high school. Asking other people as adults where they went to high school. Guilty. The city of Street. Louis. A couple of things. 1. Still bragging about accomplishments from high school when you've graduated from college. 2. Still discussing drama about other adults in such a way that it seems like high school. People are complicated. No one really cares about why Susie seems to come home really late. Maybe she works a night job to support her family. I don't care. Susie's not bothering me. 3. Still holding a grudge against a teacher in high school for giving you a poor grade when you openly admit to being a lazybones who never turned in any work. Gee, I wonder how that happened. 4. Still trying to prove to the world that you're the biggest fan of something or thinking that arguing the militant edgelord variety of atheism makes you look so much smarter, cooler, streetwise, credible than belonging to an organized religion. Alternatively, when you find out a co-worker or acquaintance is part of said religion, immediately trying to outsmart them by engaging in an intellectual debate that's really just bullying. I used to think this was just a bad stereotype that was contained to Reddit until I met several people like this in graduate school. I was floored. Things Reddit doesn't like. Sports ball. Jocks. Hometowns. Going to a local community college in the hopes of eventually being accepted into a branch campus of your state's big college, before finally realizing that education isn't for you and ending up with, on a good day, an associate's degree before moving back to the small, rural village in northwest Ohio of 2,000 people you were born in and will never leave again. I spent a lot of time in a place like this, and having come from the outside in, towns like these are a curse. You'll meet some nice people, make good friends, and maybe even find a decent high school education. But if you don't get out immediately, you will be trapped there for eternity. I have friends with so much quality potential that never truly got to experience life outside these walls. It's a perfect example of the allegory of the cave. When you don't stop hanging out with high schoolers after high school, it's awkward AF. One of the most personable guys I knew in high school is still hanging out with teens. We're in our mid-20s now, edited to bold because of the PMs I'm getting about it depends. No, at your mid-20s you're at least 6-7 years older. I'm pretty sure he's not a pedophile. I think he just misses being on top, socially. A Camaro with your graduation tassel hanging from the rear view, and a itchin' mullet. Driving a 4th gen Camaro with a V6. Couples with joint Facebook accounts. The return of the What Screams posts. Having a baby directly after high school. Going to all the sporting events even though you don't have friends or relatives on the team. I worked with a guy that told me that he wished he was back in high school because it was so much fun bullying the losers. Aside from sports, bragging about academic achievements after high school. Your short story? Fine, whatever. It's still high school and nobody cares. Edit. I'd like to expand because I always see the same stories about the jock with the football. Like, yeah, okay, great, those stories are constant. But there are many other variants. A guy I know talks about graduating firsts in his class and going to regionals for math or whatever. Like, dude, we have the same job. Reliving those memories from high school is just as lame as the guy wearing the Letterman. A person in their mid-20s or older whose Facebook info defaults to so-and-so high school. Being 21 and flooding your Facebook feed with pictures of your baby because you have nothing else going for you. You thought your looks would land you a rich husband and you wouldn't have to go to college. Instead, you got knocked up by the assistant manager of Payless Shoes, and the rest is history. Honestly, the biggest sign is when you keep talking about high school or how good it was back then. The same can be said for those who peaked in college. Realistically, life should be an opportunity for continuous growth where you find opportunities to challenge yourself, learn, and become a better person. The only stories I have are from high school. Dude, it's been 12 years. Haven't you done anything new? Still wearing your studded black belt with super tight skinny jeans that hang under your butt and band tees that are too short, but now you are late 20s early 30s. Learn how to dress people. I don't want to see your entire ass or part of your ass. Restoring the 1998 eclipse like it's a damn 49 Mercury. When a girl that does ballet rejects a punk rocker. Oh wait, that sounds like my life. Bragging about your hookups in HS when you're 37. Being the subject of the in memoriam page of the yearbook. Hatred of small town America bordering on outright bigotry. Everyone talking about the cool kids. But what about the smart kids who peaked in high school? That kid getting A's on everything and taking 7 AP classes every semester. He probably got to college and learned he had no study skills. And no idea what he wanted to actually do. He just wanted to be the smart kid. But oh no, now there's thousands of smart kids all in one place trying to do that same thing. Big fish little pond, only to find out that you are a little fish in the academic sphere. You can normally find them talking about ACT scores past the age of 18. All of today's music sucks. It was so much better back in. No, you just stopped looking for the cool stuff. We had this guy in school that everybody called dad cause he was there 2 years after he was supposed to originally graduate. We always shamed dad when he was going after the youngest of kids, the freshman girls. If that's not peaking, I don't know what is. Still talking about high school sports teams when you're in your 30s. I would have been famous if I didn't tear my ACL. Screaming I peaked in high school. Getting really excited for your high school reunion. Having a photo of your high school football team as your profile cover picture on Facebook. Working as a female shoe salesman and constantly bringing up your poke high football days about once a week. Dying around the age of 17-18. People that still brag about their SAT admissions aptitude tests when they're in uni or working. Being concerned about when people peak. Pushing their sons too hard at a sport. I used to work with a guy who was in his 40s. This guy had a video made up on DVD of him playing QB in high school football. The highlights were all set to Eye of the Tiger and had the announcer's audio over that. Dickhead going back for the pass. A long bomb from D-head. He used to find this disc in his desk anytime he was alone with a new employee. Oh, what is this? Maybe a final report for a client. I better hack it out. Oh wow, I haven't seen that in ages. Proceeds to leave it on until completion, all the while smirking. He also used to tell everyone that in high school people told him he looked like Uncle Jesse from Full House. And so he just went with it and began wearing t-shirts with vests and boots. He would then produce a picture of said look. He also had a baby picture of himself in his wallet. I do believe this is the answer you were looking for. When you're 55 and you still keep a comb in your back pocket to keep your Scott Bio feathered hairdo neat and tidy. Oh man, you don't remember me? We used to kill you in dodgeball. This 30 years after high school at an informal reunion event. Yeah, dodgeball. What is it you do now? Nobody to pummel with a dodgeball in that office now, is there? I peaked in high school. I was the most popular jock and would dack nerds and slay the cheerleaders. Then we graduated and I just became a groundskeeper at the same school. I live in a little rental with a obese and abusive GF whose drinking has gotten out of control. Being in your 40s and still bragging about that time you scored 4 touchdowns in a single game of high school football. When your hairstyle reflects the era in which you felt most powerful. Hence why you still see Farrah Fawcett's and Rachel's. The person who told me that high school was the best years of my life. Luckily they weren't. Setting up a camcorder in a field to record yourself throwing footballs next to a van you are living out of. 4 touchdowns in a single game. Renting cars and buying clothes you can't afford to impress people at your class reunion. My uncle did this. Our family hangs our head in shame. Remaining a fan of the school's football team you were once a star on. Treating them as if they were an NFL team. When you still attend high school parties 2 years after you graduated. Literally any post on According to Tom Segura, class rings and cowboy hats. People who go into college acting like since they were an A student and on student council, they'll make the dean's list within a month and itch when their prof gives them a B+ because my old teachers rounded me up. Being an 18-year-old server at Outback, then also being a 28-year-old server at the same Outback, not because life threw you a curveball and sent you back to the beginning, you've just been a server at Outback this whole time. 4 touchdowns in one game at Poke High. Let me tell you something, I haven't even begun to peak, and when I do peak, you'll know, because I'm gonna peak so hard that everybody in Philadelphia's gonna feel it. Binoculars and a sock of shame. Women who are professional mommy types who sell MLM it like essential oil or it works. Raps. I made a friend in college and he always talked about how his parents had been the popular kids in high school and bumbleduck nowhere. I didn't believe him until I went to a party he threw at his house and his parents were challenging us to take shots with them. They also berated my friend if he took a breather. I think forcing your children to bring friends home so you can have parties like when you were young is a big sign you peaked. My height on my original driver's license when I was 14 said 5 feet 7. How tall am I now? 5 feet 7. Whenever you get drunk you go on and on about what a fantastic quarterback you were on your high school football team, dedicated to my ex-husband. I saw a guy in his 30s wearing a puka shell necklace the other day, pretty sure he peaked in high school. I saw this 40+ guy mocking some guys for playing chess in a cafe once. Funny thing was the 2 chess players were highly successful software engineers. Guys who instantly go for a fight without even considering another solution for a problem. I'm not saying a fist fight isn't necessary sometimes, but when that's your go-to answer you obviously haven't learned much about dealing with difficult situations past high school. When you find yourself catching a charge for peeking into a high school. When someone still uses the derogatory nickname given to you in high school in an unironic manner, just screams hey I never grew out of the teenage mentality. Telling kids in high school that these are the best years of their lives. Having the same exact popular friend group, years later. Same haircut 20 years later, still will not shut up about cherries taken. Man, there's so many nerds on this thread. Listing the School of Hard Knocks as your alma mater. Still wearing that varsity jacket, or class ring. Wearing the collar on your polo shirt turned up.